Let's turn our attention, however, to seller sessions. And Matt, everybody welcome Matt. Bring it up.
All right, I will keep this short and sweet. It's day's almost over. So when I was thinking, sort of, what's the biggest thing that's impacted me in the last 3 to 6 months, it's basic, it's keywords, and specifically keywords in Europe. And it's having real keyword volume. We've touched on it. There's a couple tools now. I'm gonna sort of just go through them a little. But in general, up until, these tools are available, like, you just were guessing at keyword volume and never really getting an accurate picture of it, and never quite knowing what keywords to focus on. In the US was always a little better data, but Europe, especially when you went, say, German speaking or French, Spanish, it was hard to know what was going on. So I think everyone almost uses volumetrics. I think some of you guys are in that seller hacks group. This guy, Dreier, this Romanian guy, is brilliant and hacks Seller Central. So he's figured out that he sort of did this Chrome extension, and then we have all these other tools, and I sort of did a little comparison, and you'll see they're all basically scraping that same data. So Viral Launch just released their tool. And you'll see the broad and Viral Launch was very different, but if you look, and the broad in general, in terms of volume, I don't pay quite as much attention to, but when you look at the exact, and don't worry, I'm not in bike accessories. This was my friend, my friend is in it and had already sent me some of these, so you will see the volumes are almost identical, so I think it's pretty, you can say they're all getting it from the same place. With that said, I would just this was volumetrics from like 6 days ago, and I ran it last night to double check the numbers, and you'll see the exact are fine, but the broad just shot up. So it's like, you always take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if they changed the definition of broad. That might change in a few days, but those numbers change sometimes. Where do they get this data? I won't go into it too deep. I think most of you guys have seen this, but there's basically a leak. For those of you who don't know Seller Central, there's a leak in the data where if you go in and inspect the sort of AJAX calls, you'll see that when you're typing in keywords and it auto-suggested keywords, it returns a value like this, which Tran then multiplied by 7, realized that's a perfect number, so that must be 7-day weekly search, and then extrapolated 30-day search. Another cool thing that a lot of people don't know is anyone can view the source of any Chrome extension. So you can see how he did it, and then you can go do it on your own. If you want, maybe customize it, whatever, but the code is, there's Chrome extensions out there that you can just load any extension in the store or any extension you have on your computer, and it just gives you the source in nice formatted JavaScript. Some basic uses, as I said, like in Europe, I really wasn't getting great information on it, and so a couple things. Just knowing the big keywords to focus on, or say on a product that's less successful, just going for a little longer tail keywords that maybe there's more volume than you thought there is, and really optimize your listing to that. There's also, like, Tran's done other extensions, so like ideas of combining keyword searches and results counts, like how many results show up for a given keyword, to get an idea about how easy that keyword might be to zero in on. So like an example where maybe your product is struggling a little, and you see, well, if I just went a little longer tail, instead of 5,000 results, there's 500 results. Just focus the listing a little more on that, and suddenly you get, an extra 15 sales, and maybe the product is successful instead of losing. The other thing I was gonna say with this is like, for me, it just showed me like sometimes how the main keyword is the big one and all the others are secondary. So like then I just went on after it really hard. So here's an example where you can see this is like for a screen protector in Germany, and I'm just like attacking it. And that's another thing in Europe that you can get away with this it's not like it doesn't break the bank to do this, and this can be profitable. In this case, it's like for an iPhone 8, but I have an iPhone 7/8 protector and an iPhone 8 protector. They're the same product, but package them different, take up more real estate. Another way you can do this is sort of like start combining this into your own super extension. So like an idea would be that, if you have a lot of broad searches, and there's a big difference between broad and exact, that means there's a ton of other keywords there potentially. So you could sort of, write a tool that would start automating and find any time it returned a result where there's, a difference of 500 between broad and exact, go back to volumetrics, your extension, iterate through that, and start building those keywords longer and build that keyword list out. And then at the end, go through it and look for any keyword over 400 searches, tell me the results. And then you might find these random keywords where it's 2,000 searches and only 500 results, or whatever your numbers are. And then, you can take that from there and start saving it to a database. But it's pretty easy to just take all that and make your own, potentially hire someone to do it. Other thing is made me aware is really paying attention to the auto-suggest keywords. Germany, my main market, I've seen them just sort of, I think it's a combination of the data has been a little wacky on their end, and potentially people trying to manipulate the auto-suggest with, PPV, pop-up traffic, just hammering keywords, trying to get their keywords into auto-suggest. Here's just one example that I sort of had tracked of how it can change. So you'll see in the first, the exact column, that first one, those are searches from, I think, before Christmas. So that's for like the main keyword for iPhone X screen protector. You'll see it is 51,000. And then this year in February and March, the numbers haven't changed, so they haven't been updating the data, but it basically got split in this iPhone X Panzerglas folio, another word that can be used for it, basically halved it. And I don't have the original screenshot, but I know it used to be that like iPhone X Panzerglas was never in that, or iPhone X Panzerglas folio was never in those suggested keywords. So, once that gets in there, whether it's Amazon, whether it's someone else, that really affects the volume. So it's just something to be constantly checking and being aware of. Yep, that's it.
All right, other good questions. If your question isn't how are people manipulating the auto-suggest, you're missing an important question. You guys want to know how they do it? You want to tell them a little bit?
I mean, I've heard about it. I haven't personally tried it, but I don't know. PPV is like pop-up traffic, like toolbar traffic, where like they're browsing a website and another window pops up, and it's very cheap, like less than a cent, and they call it PPV is pay per view, and it's like less than a cent. It can be even cheap, very, very cheap. And so someone will just use a standard, like you search for a keyword on Amazon, you copy that URL, and you send traffic to that URL. So suddenly 5,000 people every day, that URL pops up in their browser. It's all different IPs, even a lot of it's bot traffic, but still it's all different IPs. So suddenly Amazon's getting 5,000 searches for that keyword every day. So people are doing that and you putting their brand name in it. I haven't tried it. I'm planning to play around with it a little. Even more, like I'm be a little hesitant to do it like with my brand name, but looking for keywords where I'm already ranking well and seeing if I can just move that key, if I'm already number one ranking there, and just move that keyword up in the auto suggest, so that keyword starts getting more traffic.
That pay-per-view, is that, it's not for Google?
No, it's through more shady traffic companies.
Yeah. The dodgy report can give you a tool. It's definitely, you know.
Yeah, you can use proxy rotators to do stuff like that. So you can just have a whole bunch of random IP addresses and different user agents and just at the bottom.
Yeah, if you have access to that, yeah.
There are services you can just.
There's a ton of those. Jet, you have something to add?
Because I'm about to do that, I got accepted in one of those groups. Is there a risk or because they're using the relators that
It's all various IP addresses in there, not related to you, because you're using a proxy. So they won't.
If you put on there Jet's brand is the best, there's risk. But if you are more strategic, it's probably okay.
You can even have, we've got lists of user agents, like it's an iPhone or a Samsung or laptops or whatever.
Right.
You can rotate through it, and we even use Tor networks and all kinds of stuff for price scraping, and you can use for this stuff as well.
Yeah, that's exact same strategy has worked for a long time.
And make sure it's not directing back to your company.
That's the most important part. So I think there's risk if you're doing something to manipulate data on Amazon, if they can track it back to you. That's just the way it is.
the service?
Yeah, and if you have a third party doing something for you, and there's guys out there who kind of specialize in this. Anybody have any other questions? Go back just a little bit, Matt. There was a slide that caught my interest. Yeah, it was the beginning. No. Keep going. No, I guess it was probably this. So you're basically saying that all four of these guys are pulling the same data now, and it's based on that leak that you were talking about.
Yeah, it's all, I'm like Seller Tools, I think definitely does it. Helium 10 just switched to their magnet tool, also showing the volume, and it looks like it's pretty much identical. Viral, the broad looked different, but maybe that wasn't, who knows.
Yeah.
It's a question of when they update it. I think they don't pull it instantaneously.
Yeah.
They just build it into their database and then.
So this is the great thing about competition. Forces everybody to get better faster. So all right, let's give it up for Matt again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.